A personal assistant's life is upended when her movie star boss begins an unexpected relationship with her mother. One hectic morning, personal assistant Zara sits in traffic while on her way to meet her boss, superstar actor Chris Cole, at a restaurant. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, the celebrity talks to his girlfriend Ashley while anxiously waiting for Zara to arrive. In the car, the woman receives a text message from Chris telling her to hurry or else he'll fire her. The assistant looks at the jewelry box on the passenger seat and decides to run the red light. Finally, she arrives at the establishment and bribes the host with the promise of alerting the paparazzi so he'll allow her inside. While Chris distracts Ashley, Zara tosses the jewelry box to her boss. Seconds later, the man breaks up with his girlfriend, reasoning he'll be too busy working on his next movie. Then, he hands her the jewelry box containing a pair of diamond earrings, a gift he always gives to women he breaks up with. In the car, the actor admonishes the assistant for her lateness because it made the breakup take longer than it needed to be. The woman asks if he's in a bad mood because they still haven't found a writer to rewrite the script for his next movie. Eventually, he tells her to stop by Ashley's place to collect his things and to be at his house tomorrow morning at 8:30 for a meeting. Meanwhile, Zara's mother, Brooke, asks her mother-in-law Layla what she thinks about her new book. The older woman says she likes it because it shows that she's finally ready to put herself out there again since losing her husband Charlie. That evening, Zara confides about her work problems to her mother, so Brooke tells her that she's talented and she needs to stand up for herself. Later, the assistant answers a call from her boss who sends her on a late-night run to the grocery store. During the call, the actor shares how much he misses going on mundane trips to the store because his fame no longer allows him to do so. The next day, Zara meets with her writer friend Stella, who now works as a professional closet organizer, and begs her to rewrite the script. When she arrives past 8:30 a.m. at Chris's house, she learns that the actor changed the gate code. She tries to explain that the meeting with the potential writer ran long, but he demands a written apology. Fed up, Zara climbs over the gate and barges into the house. Mila, the housekeeper, sees her angry expression and tells her to take a few deep breaths. However, the woman walks up the stairs and tells her boss that she's quitting. Caught off guard, the actor tells the woman that she can't quit because they start filming on Monday and he can't find a replacement he can trust over the weekend. So she expresses her exasperation at being his assistant for 2 years, even though he promised he'd train her to become an associate producer so she could eventually run his company. He says he can't deal with her right now because he's already stressed about the movie. However, Zara's had enough of his self-centered arrogance and she leaves the house. Later, the woman decides not to tell her mother what happened just yet because Brooke never wanted her to work for the actor in the first place. Moments later, Zara's best friend Jeannie arrives to cheer her up. That evening, the woman finally tells her mother that she quit her job. However, when Brooke points out that she has a history of quitting, such as her writing and filmmaking classes, the daughter takes offense. Zara says she just wants advice on how she's supposed to move on with her career. So the mother tells her that only she can make that decision for herself. Meanwhile, the actor distracts himself by playing video games, but rereading the script reminds him that it's still awful. The next day, he stops by his former assistant's house hoping to talk to her. When he sees that the door is open, he walks in uninvited. At first, Brooke thinks he's an intruder but eventually realizes who he is. Because Zara's out doing errands, the man asks if it's okay if he waits for her. The woman mentions that her daughter quit yesterday, so he explains that he's there hoping to convince her to come work for him again. Due to the awkward situation, they decide to partake in some alcohol while waiting. Meanwhile, Stella tells Zara that because it didn't work out with Chris, she's decided to find another producer for her screenplay. Concurrently, Brooke asks Chris why he continues making the Icarus Rush movies even though he knows they're terrible, and he says it's because it's a franchise he's been a part of since he started acting. Because the actor doesn't know anything about the Icarus myth, the woman lends him a book so he can read it. When the man learns that she's a writer, he asks for advice on what to do about the script, and she says Zara suggesting a new writer might be the right move. He spots Charlie's picture and she shares that her husband died 11 years ago, prompting the man to confide that he's lost a brother as well. Meanwhile, Zara talks to her grandmother on the phone, who tells her to stop comparing herself to her parents' accomplishments at the same age. In the house, the actor tells Brooke that he likes her because she's easy to talk to. Suddenly, they share a kiss and eventually make love in her bedroom. Later, the daughter arrives home and catches her mother and former boss doing the deed. In her haste, the woman runs into the wall and falls to the floor. Eventually, they take her to a clinic where she confronts them about what they were doing. They both swear that it was merely a physical attraction and nothing more. In the examining room, the patient annoyedly watches as the doctor continues fawning over the actor instead of attending to her. Hours later, Chris tells Zara that he only came over because he wanted to offer her an associate producer job. However, the woman says taking the position seems strange now because it feels like she is only getting it due to him and her mother doing the deed. Eventually, she agrees, but only on the condition that he never sleeps with Brooke again. Inside the house, the mother asks if they can talk about what happened, but the daughter goes straight to her room. The next day, in the middle of filming, Chris asks Zara if she solved the script problem yet, and she says she hired Stella. After the shoot, the actor says he'll read the changes to the script tonight. Meanwhile, Brooke receives a message from Chris asking her out to dinner. Even though she doesn't think it's a good idea, he says he'll make the reservation anyway in case she changes her mind. Moments later, the woman tries on dresses in front of the mirror. That evening, Brooke arrives at the restaurant and realizes that the actor closed it down just so they can have the space all to themselves. During the date, they both open up about their lives and the people they've lost. When the woman brings up what happened and how her daughter doesn't even know that she's with Chris, they both agree that they should never sleep with each other again. After dinner, the actor takes Brooke for a stroll on the studio lot. Eventually, they end up in a building where they try on different costumes. Chris asks what she plans on writing about next, so she points out that he's never read her work before. However, the man recites several lines from one of her books, revealing that he has. Suddenly, they kiss. But before making love, Brooke gently pushes him away to lay down some rules. She says that he doesn't get to break her heart and that he should never lie to her. Later, when Zara asks where she's been, the mother comes clean and says she went to dinner with Chris because they had to talk about what happened. She adds that the actor is nice and that there's more to him than most people think. The daughter disagrees, and when she asks if they just had dinner, Brooke lies and says yes. While in bed, the mother calls Layla and confides about how bad she feels for lying to her daughter. So the older woman says it'll be okay and that she deserves to live a little. Meanwhile, Zara calls Jeannie and brings up her concerns regarding her mother and boss's relationship. She says she's seen how the man treated his former lovers and believes it's only a matter of time before the same thing happens to Brooke. For the next few days, the mother secretly spends time with the actor at his beach house. On the next shooting day, Zara pretends she can translate the French director's notes regarding Chris's acting to subtly remind the man about his awful treatment of women in the past. After the shoot, the associate producer asks the actor if he's taking a +1 to the event that evening, and he says yes but doesn't disclose who it is. He adds that he spoke to the director and they agreed on hiring a different writer because they didn't like Stella's rewrites. When Zara and Jeannie arrive at the house, they run into Brooke by the door, who seems like she's in a hurry to get somewhere. Later, the woman wonders why Chris didn't consult her regarding the new writer even though she's an associate producer. So the friend tells her that she'll still get a credit on the movie and it's a great start to her career. Jeannie also opens up about her relationship problems with her boyfriend Malcolm. In her mother's bedroom, Zara finds a copy of the movie script on the side table, so the friends decide to crash the gala with help from Chris's publicist, Jesse. In the ballroom, the woman sees her mother and boss kissing in a corner and calls them out. Embarrassed, the mother apologizes and says she was going to tell her everything. When the actor steps away for a moment, Brooke takes her daughter aside to try and explain. However, Zara says she's making a big mistake because everyone knows Chris only uses women. The mother admits she's starting to feel things that she hasn't felt for a man since her husband, infuriating the daughter. Brooke doesn't understand where Zara's animosity is coming from, so the latter explains that she doesn't know what it's like being the daughter of a successful writer. She adds that Chris chose her over Stella to rewrite the movie, which would have been a huge step in her career. The mother says she didn't know about Stella when she took the job rewriting the script script. So Zara tells Brooke that she needs to end things with the actor or else she's moving out of the house. When the mother says that maybe her moving in wasn't a good idea, the heartbroken daughter storms off. Later, Zara decides to spend the night at Jeannie and her boyfriend Malcolm's apartment. Meanwhile, Brooke calls Chris to tell him that she'll be spending the holidays at Layla's house. She adds that the time apart might do them some good because she needs to fix things with her daughter first. As they say their goodbyes, the actor accidentally tells the woman that he loves her. The next day, Jeannie agrees that it's weird that the woman's mother and boss are in a relationship. However, Malcolm states that maybe the couple's business doesn't have anything to do with Zara. When the woman asks what the couple's plans are for the holidays, the man says he might go home to Chicago by himself to visit his parents, eliciting a reaction from his girlfriend. Meanwhile, Layla tells Brooke that if she wants Chris to visit, she should call him and that she'll talk to her granddaughter. Soon, Zara arrives and the grandmother tries to convince her that it's okay if Brooke has a little fun once in a while. Suddenly, they hear a car outside and the woman sees the actor. So Layla tells her that it was her idea because she wants to meet Chris and she's a good judge of character. For the next few days, Zara loosens up, especially after seeing how happy her mother is with the actor. One night, the daughter overhears Brooke telling Layla that she and Charlie were having serious marital problems before he was diagnosed. Zara learns that her mother is falling for the actor, but that she is also scared of getting hurt. On Christmas morning, the daughter receives an associate producer canvas from Chris, which she appreciates. Then, the mother opens her gift and sees that he collected all her published essays and short stories and compiled them in a hardbound book. Later, as Zara loads the luggage in Chris's car, she finds a jewelry box with diamond earrings, just like the ones he gave to women before he broke up with them. When they arrive at the house, the daughter confronts her boss and tells her mother that he always gives women the same pair of earrings when he's about to break up with them and that he's already bought a pair for Brooke. Chris tries to explain that they were supposed to be the initial gift before he thought of the book. However, when Zara asks her mother if the actor took her to the studio lot on a date, the writer realizes that he's taken other women there before, so Brooke tells the man to leave the house. The woman says all she wanted was to expose Chris for what he is. However, instead of appreciation, the mother tells her that the confrontation probably wasn't the best way to handle the situation. Later, Zara heads to Jeannie's place to vent. But when Malcolm isn't there, she learns that the couple broke up 10 days ago. Eventually, the friend says she tried to tell her that she and her boyfriend were having problems, but she never listened. Then, she admits that she's tired of Zara always making everything about her and not being able to recognize that other people have problems too. With nowhere else to go, the woman decides to stay at Mila's for the time being. On New Year's Eve, Zara decides to patch things up with Jeannie. She receives a text message from her mother and she responds with "I love you." During the next shooting day, the associate producer finds the actor moping inside his trailer. He says he doesn't deserve playing good guy roles because he's a bad guy. So the woman assures him that he isn't a bad guy, but that he does do bad things sometimes. The man asks if her mother hates him and she says she doesn't, but adds that she's busy at the moment because she'll be teaching at Princeton next semester. Then, Chris swears he didn't purchase the earrings because he was going to break up with Brooke. He says he bought them out of habit because he always runs away from something when it's too good for him. However, he got the idea for the book since he knew she'd like it and then he just forgot that the earrings were still in his bag. Hearing his side of the story, Zara apologizes for how she handled the situation. Later, the woman tells Brooke that she's the most supportive mother who never asked for anything in return. She says she realized that the woman's happiness doesn't take anything away from her and that she deserves to live her life. When Zara mentions Chris, her mother says that chapter of her life is over and it's time to move on. The next day, the woman takes the actor to the grocery store because she remembers him saying that he hasn't been in one for years. Minutes later, Brooke arrives with Layla, who tells her that she needs a specific type of melon only found in this store. Eventually, Chris and the writer run into each other by the produce section and they realize that Zara planned the encounter. The daughter apologizes for everything and says she thinks they need a real shot at a relationship. After she walks away, Chris tells Brooke that it took meeting her for him to realize that he takes everyone around him for granted. When the woman expresses her concern about it not ending well, he reminds her that they haven't even started yet. As they share a kiss, Zara calls for the misters to spray over the produce, enveloping the couple in a fog. Outside, the granddaughter and Layla celebrate their plan working out. 1 year later, Brooke does a live reading of her new book. Meanwhile, Zara continues rising the ranks works as a film producer in Chris's company. After a short conversation in the woman's office, they say they'll see each other tonight at dinner, implying that Chris and Brooke's relationship is going strong.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.